Like that was like the first time the second time I met him. But yeah, that was my whole point of asking both you guys the same question because I needed somebody to be like a voice for both of these guys because they're fucking awesome people and they're great to do business with, and I think they deserve more recognition in life. So I hope I
no,
hope they hear
definitely,
it.
man. Yeah, I do too. And you know, if anybody out there is listening, you know, either one of them, go shake their hand and tell them thanks for not being a scumbag. I mean, it's
Seriously,
just that simple.
seriously. Um, have you ever worked outside the U.S.?
I have not, which is a bummer. We had a small outside chance to do a Maritimes tour up in Canada, and that unfortunately fell through because obviously those maritime tours, a very, very small group of people. You know, you intermingle on, you know, ref works, you know, as a worker, and you know you have a couple of maybe a ladies match and, you know, midgets match, and everybody who's on it sets up, breaks down, and promotes, you know, which is great. I mean, I honestly, I love that style. I think it's awesome. But that was my one and only shot, and unfortunately it fell through because I think like they were looking at 12 people.
You're fading out, buddy.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, you got the last part. Like, again, it was probably a 12-person tour, and we were probably, you know, guy 18 in that sense. You know what I mean? I think they're trying to figure out what the budget was, and we just, unfortunately, it didn't go through. So, never had a chance to do anything outside the country, which does make me sad, but, you know, hopefully my kiddos from the U will get that opportunity that I didn't, and be able to spread their wings a lot farther, and I'll be really happy about that at least.
Right on. All right, man.
Okay.
We're gonna get to know you a little better here, okay? In this next section, where did you grow up?
From New Mexico, born in Santa Fe, lived there for a little bit, and then moved to Albuquerque, and I've pretty much been here ever since. So, yeah, easy peasy on that. New Mexico, Santa Fe, Albuquerque. There you go.
All right. What kind of kid were you? You said you were a skater.
I fell down a lot. Yeah, and I think that went into it, man. I fell down a lot, dude. Like that was me. Like I don't think I was a mean kid. I've heard that I was fairly friendly, very awkward in the sense for a long period of time, and I fell down a lot. If I was running, I fell down. If I was walking and I turned into something, which I would do constantly, hit a wall, fall down. And so then to make that better, I put a skateboard under my feet and started skating and fell down even more. You know, so that was I guess it was sort of a natural progression to then learn how to fall, right?
Right. Jeez. Did you?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, man. Go ahead. Continue, please.
No, I was going to say, overall, man, like, I felt like you know, decent to people fairly throughout my whole life. Not huge into, you know, telling people off. I mean, I would when I'd get drunk, but other than that, pretty good.
All right, leads me to my next question. Did you get into fights at school?
No, not usually at school. I was kind of lucky in the sense that I had enough of a friend group that, like, I sort of fluctuated between the groups, if you will. My best friend growing up was a collegiate wrestler and a football player. I was, I guess, a Hesher kid, skateboarder, and a punk rocker. So, you know, he and I were literally, and he's still basically my best friend today outside of Mr. Josh there. You know, so it was like I had a wide enough peer group that I didn't really have to get into fights. So even if somebody in a particular, you know, group of kids or whatever didn't like me, there was a decent chance somebody in that group was like, nah, that guy's cool. You know what I mean? So I didn't have to very much, which is good. I've only been in 2 fights in my life, so that's not bad, I guess.
Oh, right on. All right, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Dude, Star Wars all day. my wife is a huge Trekkie fan, and she likes Star Wars, but like I just I love the concept. Jean-Luc Picard is a dashing gentleman, even in his elderly age. He's still a handsome fellow. Dude, Star Wars all day long, man.
Nice.
Straight up.
Okay. Have you ever been arrested?
Detained. I've never actually ever been charged, but detained, yes. Mass vandalism and breaking windows, which I actually didn't do, but I had a neighbor who really, really hated my guts, and her husband was on the force and then was retired, and so called in favors and had me detained and
wow,
harassed.
What the fuck?
So yeah, outside of that, pretty good, man.
All right. I'm about to ask you what kind of music you, and you said punk rock. Is there any other kind of music you like?
Oh, dude, yeah. I'll try to make it quick, Castle, because that one we could do a whole podcast all by itself.
Take your time.
Dude, indie rock, huge into indie rock. Built to Spill, Dinosaur Jr., two of my all-time favorite bands. Over the last, I would say, 3 years, I've gotten really heavy into folk country, so to speak. It's more sort of like, street performer, real lo-fi kind of thing, old school. I do not like modern country at all. I think it's garbage.
I agree.
I'm not a huge country guy in general, but if I'm going to do some a little bit of outlaw and stuff like that, but I found that my taste has gone a little bit towards that. It's real lo-fi folk country I really like, and then I've gotten a lot into I guess doom metal, if you will, if we're gonna throw a genre name on it. So a little bit more into metal than I've ever been into. I've really kind of gotten into that, and then I'm super picky, I guess, about my rap / hip hop, but there are groups that I love. I mean, I'm a huge Eminem guy, like shocker, right? White kid likes Eminem, whatever. But
are you a fan of Vinny Paz?
Vinny, I'm sorry, what?
Are you a fan of Vinny Paz?
I honestly, dude, I know that name, but I couldn't tell you. So I'm going to say no, just because
check
I
him
haven't.
out.
But I will check him out. Yes, very much.
He's part of his group called Army of the Pharaohs. Man, you got to check that music out. It's old school rap but modernized.
Nice. Oh, dude, I probably will love it then.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
Awesome.
Vinny's totally old school to shit, dude. It's awesome. It's not this mumble rap shit. It's fucking good shit, bro. He's this dude from South Philly.
Yeah.
This Italian Muslim from South Philly, bro. So
nice, yeah, dude. That sounds exactly like something I could get into right there.
You definitely
There's
like
this guy from.
I'm sorry. Let's get back
England.
into your music. I'm sorry.
Oh no. There's this guy from England called Flip Tricks. He's freaking sick, dude. If you get a chance, the British rapping is so interesting, obviously because of the accent. It's obviously how they put together their bars and their verbiage is really good, and he's one that I personally am a big fan of. So
any particular song?
Say again?
Any particular song? Because I'm gonna write it down.
So for Flip Tricks, the album that I really like is what is it called? It's I can't remember. It's like Third Eye from the Sun or something like that. But yeah, check him out, man. Pretty much any of his stuff. It's FLIX. And then Tricks is TRIX, I believe.
Okay. So it's Flicks Tricks?
Flip?
Oh,
yeah, I'm sorry. It's FLIP and then TRIX. My bad.
Okay,
Sorry about
cool.
that.
All right, got it. Sweet. All right, do you read?
I'm a big article guy. I will read... a lot of it is wrestling autobiographies and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of nonfiction, but most of the stuff, to be honest with you, is I'm a big article guy. Like I'll go online and rabbit hole something. I'll read somebody will pop off on something, and I'll be like, well, I don't agree with that at all, and then I'll go down the rabbit hole to figure out why it was said, or I totally agree with that. What's whatever. Like I like to I guess get the two different sides to see where people are coming from, because then I can judge who's a moron and who's not, I guess.
Okay.
and then obviously during the Death Rage Cartel era, dude, freaking nonstop on serial killers, which puts you in a really dark place. I don't recommend it to anybody, but yeah, I definitely read a lot of that.
Jeez. All right, let's get into part 3: politics and conspiracies. Who are you voting for?
So I'm pretty sure this is the kicker. I was hoping to God that somehow Weld would stay on, the ballots to be the opposition to Trump, which I was pretty sure was not going to happen, but that was my hope, outside hope. I'm probably going to vote for Biden, and it has nothing to do with him because I think he's a scumbag. Right. It has to do, it's straight up. It has to do with the possibility of his vice presidential candidate, who I think, if he does Harris, I would be happy about. If he does, damn it, I just forgot her name. Anyways, the other lady that was running, Warren, sorry, there we go, Elizabeth Warren. If he does Elizabeth Warren, I will not be happy about it. But here's the kicker, and this is the one thing. I read a quote, and it stuck with me. I literally read this quote like 3 months ago, and it stuck in my head. You're not voting for the president, you're voting for the next justice. And so there are a lot of heavy conservative justices in the Supreme Court right now, and I do think we need at least some sort of equal balance there because the scale is tipping really heavily.
I agree.
And
yeah.
We're getting ready to lose, I think it's Ginsburg, right? She's getting ready to retire,
yep.
I believe. And so that really stuck with me. So you're voting for the justice. And so I kind of, as much as it pains me, I probably will vote for him just because of that justice appointee. Because if we go completely all one-sided, I think that's going to be bad for us in either way. But I think that's going to be bad for us.
Right. I wish to God that Gary Johnson would have ran again. That was my dude.
I voted for him last. I didn't want anything to do with either one of the candidates. I voted for him, and that's why I wanted Weld, because to be honest with you, I did my research on Johnson, which again obviously is pretty easy when New Mexican is running for president. You're a New Mexican, but Weld was he was so intelligent. He was extremely well spoken. Soft-spoken, but you could tell, he had the assertiveness. He wouldn't have been a pushover, but he was a thinker. And so this year when he was running as a Republican, it kind of bummed me out because I was like, well, you're not beating Trump. Right. I was hoping you would run as an independent, just to have that third vote, but he decided to run as a Republican back. So, but I'm with you, man. That would have been good. Unfortunately, I think he flamed out 4 years ago. I don't think he would have garnered any support this year, which is unfortunate. But he would have been a nice one to have.
Yeah, would have been a nice option. What are your thoughts on Trump?
Yeah, exactly.
What are your thoughts on Trump?
Very obviously, I am not a fan of Trump. Not even a little bit. The one thing that does bother me, and on the flip side of it, is so many people, on the opposite side, want to throw words into the dude's mouth. And my whole thing is, dude's going to say something stupid by himself. Dude's going to tweet something moronic and insensitive by himself. Dude's going to, go out and act a fool all by himself. There's absolutely no reason you need to try to manipulate what he says, to try to put words into his mouth to say, oh, this is what he's saying, or to change stuff. to do any of this stuff. When you do that, you look like a jackass. You look like the fool. Because he